Hello, everybody, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel, help us grow. So, today I'd like to talk about this phenomenon of lying flat or men going their own way or checking out. And it's something that is attributed oftentimes to young men, Gen Z, I guess, men is the best way to put it. And I'm actually here to say that I believe that this is something that affects men of multiple generations, including some of the younger baby boomers. And especially, I know in my generation, Gen X, and so on, this phenomenon, I can recall being a young man, college aged, and having this idea that, it was before my first marriage, and sitting down and thinking, what is all this about, this whole rat race thing, and where does it end up leading? And I have many friends who actually participated in the rat race, actually did very well for themselves financially anyway, but still ended up miserable. I have friends who went to Wall Street and worked for major corporations, corporate types, worked in technology, in different industries, and they did very well for themselves. They made money. They had multiple marriages. Some of them didn't really get married. Had long-term relationships, but the fact of the matter is, in terms of their overall lives, they seem to make out okay. And I know with some of these guys, they're very unhappy today, very unhappy with the direction their lives took, very dissatisfied, I think is the best way to put it, and really suffer from a lack of meaning in their lives. And I will say that this is particularly the case for people who, maybe aren't religious or, not Christian. But it's also the case, I know many Christian men who suffer from this as well. And it's hard to escape, I think, as a man. I think biologically and certainly psychologically, we were, we had multiple generations of men throughout thousands of years who basically got ahead by, pillaging and conquering and exploring, and these are all things that really are absent from modernity, and that's the issue, really. The modern world has stripped out a lot of meaning from men's lives. It's made men's lives devoid of purpose, I think, true purpose. And frankly, this is something that's unique to men because of how we're built, and I'm very certain, although I don't speak from direct experience, I'm very certain that women suffer their own trials and tribulations from modernity, particularly where feminism is concerned, and women being forced to act like men, or forcing themselves to act like men, or to take on male characteristics. And that's a big problem, I think, for women, and one of the reasons why they're so unhappy, because, after all, they're women. But so this is not something that's unique to men, to young men in terms of this lack of purpose. And so I think the natural inclination, I think it can go one of two ways. You can sort of fight back against modernity and rail against it, I guess, like Uncle Ted style. Or you can sort of check out. And I think most men choose the latter and not the former, and they check out of the system. They either refuse to participate, or if they had participated at some point, they sort of drop out and go their own way. And this is something that I, from personal experience, am going through and have gone through, frankly, my entire life. But it's particularly acute these days. It's been over 6 months since I last worked, and unemployment actually ran out this week. My unemployment actually ran out this week, and it's, I've applied probably to dozens. I mean, it's at least over 100 jobs that are in my, wheelhouse in terms of skills, experience, knowledge, experience, and so on. And have had a couple of interviews, actually 3 interviews, all 3 just being screening interviews. The first one was actually a no-go, did not make the finalist list. Still waiting to hear on the other 2. I don't really have my hopes up. In terms of applying, I still apply. I applied for a couple jobs this morning, and these are all realistically attainable jobs for me. And the interesting thing is that when, not to dump on women any more than I usually do, but almost all of the HR people, all the names you come across when there are names associated with these recruitments, they're all women, number one. And I do get the occasional, although, I would say it's in a very low percentage, probably in the 10s or maybe 20% of the jobs I apply to actually respond with a thanks, but no thanks. Most of them don't respond at all. And that's the nature of modern American life. And I speak, about modern American life because I don't know what it's like to go through some of these events in other nations and other cultures. But in terms of modern American life, Western life, maybe 20% tops where I get a response that says thanks, but no thanks. Inevitably, always, 100% from a woman. And very often they'll say things like, you don't meet the minimum qualifications, or you're not qualified. The funny thing is, in my profession, I am eminently qualified for these jobs. I actually, where these jobs are concerned, have 20 years of experience. These jobs are, in terms of the industry itself, it's almost 30, 26 years. But the jobs I'm thinking of where they've either said, you don't meet the minimum qualifications or you're not qualified. I have dozens of years of experience in these fields, in that field. So I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, certainly they could say you're overqualified, but I guess they're afraid to say that. And maybe that's what it is. But so it's enough to really make you kind of, and I do, and frankly, the only reason I'm trying so hard to get another job is twofold. I have some health issues and I need health insurance. And the other reason is that I have a teenage son and need to make money. I mean, certainly if I was on my own, I could make do without the big salary, the wage slave job. But, at the end of the day, I mean, if that were the case, it probably wouldn't have gone this long as a wage slave. And that's one of the things I think that for young men, looking at the prospect of 20 or 30 or 40 years of being a wage slave is not that appealing, particularly when you can lose, 75% of your assets to a woman who wasn't ever faithful to you to begin with. So these are concerns, and I understand them. Better off to, maybe crash at your parents' house, or, get a couple of your buddies together and, rent a place, or frankly go out and on your own and, just make do and get yourself a trailer or an apartment, or, maybe live on the road. Totally can understand all of those things, because frankly, I don't know that life has, anything else to offer you. And I wish I could say different. There is really, people talk about risk reward, and you've got some of these, manosphere, red pill types, or they at least characterize themselves as red pill, who talk about, and I'm not black pilling here either. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying this is a reality. But, they'll come out and they'll say, be the best, you could possibly be, the best version of you, and all this nonsense. And frankly, what are you doing? Like, who are you impressing, and why? What is the point of all that? In terms of female companionship, even in my current state, jobless and basically an old man, and I've always just been an average looking guy. I was never a Chad. I was never a good looking guy, but I always managed to do fine with women. Even now I have women who'll come on to me who, and my age, younger, much younger, in terms of, even in their 20s and 30s. So it's not like, and frankly, I have known my entire life some of the guys who are the least marketable, let's say, in terms of economic viability. They do the best with these women. And I don't know if it's because they're non-threatening or because, I don't know if it's their personalities or what it is, but in all honesty, you don't have to be the best version of you. You don't have to be super jacked. You don't have to be super rich. And I think, frankly, all you do... I had a friend, speaking of super jacked, I had a friend in high school who was, and this is many years ago, this is in the 80s, who was into working out and in the gym. And this is before it actually became popular. This is early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And, his brothers, they were super jacked back in the day, used roids. There was a few, and these, some of you old timers out there will know guys who played football, who played ball, who were wrestlers and so on, and it was before the days of testing. Nobody tested. I mean, and guys would get jacked with this stuff. And he always attracted the attention of the ladies. Now, he too was an average-looking guy. He was not any kind of stud or Chad. He was just an average-looking guy, but he happened to be jacked. He was, very muscular. Also a short king. He was actually shorter than me, and I'm not even 6 feet tall. So he's actually a short king, and always attracted ladies. And they were always just interested basically in his muscles and, and how he looked. And it's the same thing if you go out there and you flaunt your money, whether you actually have money or not. You're going to attract women for that reason because they think that you have money. But, can you build a life on that? You really can't build a life on that. So these guys who are out there getting back to my original point, and I apologize if I meander sometimes, I'm just trying to get it all out there. My original point, being the best version of yourself, what are you attracting? That woman's not going to be, she's not wife material. And even if she were, she's attracted to you for the wrong reasons, not because you're compatible or whatever. So, and usually those are exactly the kind of women you don't want to be wife material because they have a high body count and they've been with all kinds of dudes and for all the wrong reasons. So this idea of kind of just lying flat or doing your own thing, going your own way, not really getting caught up in the rat race, it is not a new idea. It's not unique to Gen Z. It's not unique to millennials. it's not unique to Gen X. I mean, this is something that cuts across generationally, and there's a good reason for it. Because modern life, frankly, doesn't have a lot to offer men. So these days, so what's the alternative? I mean, you just find solace, frankly, if you're fortunate enough to have a circle of friends or some friends, just to hang out and to be a support network, that's great. If you don't have that and you're fine being solo, that's people like me. I'm fine being alone. I think it's it's always been my nature. I'm fine being alone. I'm fine being amongst other people. It doesn't really matter to me. These days, frankly, I kind of skew to, enjoying my time alone. You just kind of, there are hobbies. I know there are guys out on YouTube like John Griffin who says that he's fine walking in the woods with his dogs, and I'm sure he's got other things that he's interested in. But, it sums it up that just living your life on your own terms, I think, is all he's saying. And if that's just walking in the woods or fishing with your buddies or playing the occasional round of golf or playing video games at home alone, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let people tell you there's anything wrong with that. Frankly, the pursuit of material goods, just for the sake of that or to impress people, who are you impressing and why? Now, if you're a car guy and you like cars and you've got the means and it's to satisfy you, that's great. Same thing. I know guys who are really into real estate. I kind of think of Tim Dillon when I think of this, because he seems to be a guy who really enjoys kind of the real estate game. And I know other guys like that too. They just kind of enjoy acquiring properties. They may not, it's not even a flipping thing for them. They may just hold them for a while. They may get some income out of them. Sometimes they'll buy places, they'll renovate them, they'll live there for a while, and they'll get tired of them. Hey man, if that's your thing, that's fine. I've known guys like that for years, decades. I know guys who are into, crazy shit, adrenaline shit, like jumping out of planes and riding fast motorcycles. If that's your thing, man, I know guys in their 60s, late 60s like that, those late boomers. And hey, if that's your thing, that's cool. Live your life on your own terms. Do what, you get some satisfaction out of. I think that's the best that we can hope for in this modernity. If you just like to sit at home and read, whether it's on your e-reader or physical books. I know guys who are all about physical books. They've got rooms full of books. That's cool too. I know lots of guys, they have to have dogs, one or more dogs. Some guys will tell you, they don't like to be pinned down with pets. That's cool. I know guys who own cats. I know guys who wouldn't go near a cat. That's fine. Hell, I know guys who are into birds. I knew one guy who was a falconer. And that's cool. I mean, you don't come across that every day. So however you can find your satisfaction, he actually made a living doing that. And there's a whole thing behind that. Pretty cool guy. Anyway, however you find satisfaction today, that's what you should do as a man, and not let modern life kind of encroach on that satisfaction and make you miserable, because that's really what modern life does. It's just not, it's contrary to human nature. It's contrary both to men and women, but, again, I'm speaking, my purpose here is to, be an advocate for men or to talk about men's issues. As a man, modern life makes you miserable. It has for generations now. So however you can find satisfaction, you should. And anyway, I will wrap it up at that, because notice I've said that a couple times, and don't want to keep repeating myself. So I will see you down the road. Thank you for tuning in to the channel. Please like and subscribe if you can. And I will again see you down the road. Bye.